WFYI podcast brought to you by Bloomington, Indiana, an American college town offering food and drink, college sports, outdoor activities, live music, cool art, and good times daily. Everyone is welcome in Bloomington. More information at visitbloomington.com.
This is WFYI News Now. It's March 29th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, IPS moves to an opt-in system for its school bus service. The state reveals the first draft of new graduation requirements for Hoosier students. And the Indiana Democratic Party is focused on flipping at least 4 seats in the House this year, which would break the Republican supermajority.
I feel like you can only go so far as a political party before you kind of tip over. And I think that the Republican Party is very, very close to tipping over.
Those stories coming up. But first, the second installment of our new regular segment called The Checkup from Side Effects Public Media, where the health reporting team explores a single question sparked by a recent news story or maybe by one of our listeners. This time, the news team looks into safety concerns around the eclipse as the city prepares for the big day on April 8th.
I'm Lizzie McGreevy, Community Engagement Specialist at Side Effects Public Media, and here with me is health reporter Darian Benson.
Hey, Lizzie.
Hi, Darian. So the checkup question today is, how can I stay safe during the total solar eclipse? And to start off, what is so special about this eclipse happening on April 8th?
Lizzie, the last time Indianapolis experienced something like this was in the year 1205.
Okay, so I'm going to try to do some mental math. Carry the one. Okay. So according to my brain, that was more than 800 years ago.
Yeah, 819 years to be exact. So this will be what is called a total solar eclipse, and Indiana is in the path of totality. A total solar eclipse is when the moon passes between the sun and earth and completely blocks the sun. In Indianapolis, this will happen around 3:06 p.m. and will last about 3 minutes and 40 seconds. You might remember the eclipse that happened in 2017. Back then, Indiana was able to see a partial eclipse because we were outside of the path of totality.
Many people, like myself, have been looking forward to this total solar eclipse since 2017 and before. But I know there are some precautions we should take. Like, is it true that you're not supposed to look at the sun at all during a total solar eclipse?
So you shouldn't look at the sun at any time, but there is a misconception that people should not look at the sun when the moon is fully blocking its light. Some people think that there are still harmful rays that can make their way and damage your eyes. But NASA says that's not true. People can look at the sun without protection during the few minutes when the moon fully blocks it. But remember, those are just under 4 minutes. Before and after this happens, people must use proper eye protection. The sun's surface is incredibly bright. If you stare at any part of it, even a little part, it produces enough light to damage the cells in your eyes that process light and help your brain understand the images you're looking at. It only takes a few seconds for damage to happen, and it can be permanent. I talked to Dr. Hin Cheong, a clinical assistant professor of optometry at Indiana University, about this, and this is what he said.
You can think of the photoreceptor cells in the retina like little pixels on a TV screen. And so if you destroy or damage those little cells, it's like causing those pixels to go dark.
He says the cells don't regenerate. And the worst part of it is that you may feel fine at the moment, but it can take a few hours or even a few days after viewing the eclipse to realize the damage has happened.
So let's just say someone did look at the sun without proper safety measures. Are there certain symptoms people should look out for?
Some symptoms people should look out for include loss of central vision, distorted vision, headache, increased sensitivity to light, and changes in the way you see color. If you experience any of that, it's very important to see an ophthalmologist.
Okay, so I have seen my local grocery store selling solar eclipse glasses for under $2. And while this seems like a deal, I just need to know, is it the real deal?
Well, you have to look at them. Approved solar eclipse products have an ISO 12312 standard labeling on them. You can find these online or, like you said, in the grocery stores around the city. Before using the product, make sure there aren't any scratches or holes in them. And it's very important to note that this label is not on ordinary sunglasses because regular sunglasses are not strong enough to protect your eyes during an eclipse.
Okay, so I shouldn't use my regular sunglasses. What if I look at the eclipse through my smartphone or just a camera lens?
Well, according to NASA, you actually shouldn't do that. You also shouldn't look at it through things like binoculars or telescopes without proper filters. Also, this is a big event, and there are a lot of activities around the state on April 8th outside, so it's really important to also wear sunscreen and stay hydrated.
I am really looking forward to safely experiencing the total solar eclipse on April 8th. Thank you for the great information and for the safety tips. If you, listeners, have any questions about our healthcare system, questions you're maybe too shy to ask your doctor, or general healthcare questions, please reach out to us. We'll be back with more health information at your next checkup. Stay safe.
That was The Checkup, a segment from Side Effects Public Media. Side Effects is a regional health reporting collaboration of NPR member stations across the Midwest, based here at WFYI. And if you have a question for The Checkup, we'd love to hear it, whether it's about the complex U.S. healthcare system, something you're usually too embarrassed to ask, or you just want to hear from an expert about a health policy topic. You can send an email to news@wfyi.org. And families in Indianapolis Public Schools must notify the district if they want bus service for their children next school year. From WFYI's Education Desk, Dylan Pierce-McCoy reports the state's largest district says that moving to an opt-in system will improve service for bus riders and save money.
Indianapolis Public Schools offers bus service to about 20,000 students, but many parents drive their children to school. In the past, IPS would send buses to pick those children up unless parents opted out. Bill Murphy runs operations for IPS.
We end up sending buses to bus stops where no children are waiting. And we end up having spots on buses for children that never intend to ride.
But starting next school year, the district will only send buses for students whose parents say they need service. Parents can sign up for busing when they enroll or through an online form. I'm Dylan Pierce-McCoy.
In other education news, high school will look different for Indiana students in the coming years. As Indiana Public Broadcasting's Kirsten Adair reports, the state revealed its first draft of new graduation requirements on Wednesday.
The requirements would create two new high school diplomas, the Indiana GPS and the Indiana GPS Plus. GPS stands for Graduates Prepared to Succeed. The GPS would replace Indiana's current diplomas, including the Core 40. Indiana Secretary of Education Katie Jenner says the new general diploma will allow students to personalize their education based on their goals after high school.
We really have an opportunity to better support our students in their personal journey.
Under the new requirements, students would have to take foundational courses in subjects like math and English. But they would also be required to show college and career readiness with experiences like attending job fairs, taking a career aptitude test, or having a job. The new requirements would be finalized late this summer. The state will switch to the new diplomas at the beginning of 2029, but schools can choose to opt in sooner. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Kirsten Adair.
And for our final story today, the Indiana Democratic Party is focused on flipping at least 4 seats in the House this year. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Brandon Smith reports doing so would break the supermajority Republicans have had for more than a decade.
Indiana Democratic Party Chair Mike Schmuhl says breaking the supermajority gives Democrats a greater ability to stop, slow, or change what he calls harmful legislation. And Schmuhl says his party can flip seats by providing voters with quality choices, candidates that are focused on solutions to real problems.
I feel like you can only go so far as a political party before you kind of tip over. And I think that the Republican Party is very, very close to tipping over.
A focus of the party's strategy is suburban districts around Indianapolis, and candidates like Josh Lowry say a key message is the need for greater accountability and transparency.
Breaking the supermajority is healthy for democracy.
Republicans have had a supermajority in the state Senate since 2010 and in the House since 2012. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Brandon Smith at the State House.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by the following people who live in your community: Drew Daudelin, Kendall Antron, who composed the music for this podcast, and me, Abriana Herron. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. And my co-host, Darian Benson, finished her last day of work yesterday. She will truly be missed by everyone here at WFYI. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back on Monday.